And to the men that get women pregnant and then make them go through that pregnancy alone, it's a special place in hell for you, because pregnancy is mentally and physically draining. I was pregnant 2 years ago, and let me tell you, ain't no way I could have did it on my own. Thank God I didn't have to. But to the mothers who did, you're strong, because let me tell you, guys don't understand. They don't understand at all.
Do you know what? I never understand those guys that allow a woman that's having their child to go through the whole pregnancy process alone. That's just weird, man. And it's sad as well. Like, why would you miss those opportunities? Regardless if you're together or not, man, you should be there. That's your child. You're not embarrassed. That's fucking embarrassing.
I don't care if you don't agree. But if abortion is illegal, a man leaving a woman during pregnancy should be illegal too. Again, this is what I believe, not what you believe, and that's okay. But if a woman can't back out of pregnancy, a man shouldn't be able to either.
Hi ladies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Miss Kafwe. So in this video, we're talking about the men who get women pregnant and then they abandon them. Like, how sick of an individual do you have to be to do such a thing? Like, yeah, but most men do it. Men don't care. Men don't care about you. That's why I tell you, be very careful who you have a child with. Be very careful. Oh my God, be very careful. Protect your womb more than you even protect your heart. Anyway, ladies, I want us to jump right into this video. You'll get to hear women sharing their stories. You'll get to hear why a lot of these things happen. So ladies, this is a very interesting video that I advise you to watch until the end. So let's jump right in, and then I'll be back to give my take on it.
I did go through my pregnancy alone, so let's talk about it. This was me most of the time. The beginning was honestly miserable, but I'm so thankful for it. So the time frame kind of looked like this. I found out I was pregnant. Me and my ex, we were kind of like on and off at the time. And I had like a serious conversation with him. I'm like, are we gonna be able to like work together on this or no? Because if not, then that triggered him really bad. That night was awful. It was like police, my dad. It was bad. From there, I knew that like we were not gonna be together. But me personally, I had already terminated a pregnancy before, and I couldn't go through it again. And I just personally don't feel like that is like an option, because I knew what I was doing. So anyways, we've always lived about 2 hours apart. It's nothing new. I drove up to him a lot during our relationship, but he expected me to continue that through my pregnancy. So like he wanted me to make my appointments up there so that he could be involved. And I was like, no, I'm the one going through the pregnancy. I'm giving birth where I live, especially for safety reasons. And so he didn't want to come. So I already knew what things were going to look like after the baby was born. I had to basically beg my ex to come to my first appointment. We're both personal trainers, and he just like didn't want to make any adjustments to his schedule to like come be a part of the pregnancy. I think I saw him one time throughout my whole pregnancy. It was really sad. My mom came to a lot of my appointments with me, and I would cry every time I saw a couple walk in together, because I would either be by myself or with my mom. I set up my stroller by myself. I set up the crib by myself. I was working 2 jobs to save up as much as I could because I didn't know what level of help I was gonna get. It was the trenches, for real. I just stayed as busy as I could. Giving up wasn't really an option for me, and I just tried to keep my mind as positive as possible after those first couple months, because I knew that like I've struggled with anxiety, I've struggled with a lot of different like mental health things, and I didn't want my baby to be feeling any of that. And I knew the second I found out I was pregnant, like my life is not about me anymore. And heartbreak will heal, but my baby's childhood is forever for him. Things that happen to babies, like literally from the second that they are formed, can stick with them psychologically forever. So I just kept reminding myself this. I don't get down bad about a lot of things, because I just remind myself all of the other things that I used to cry about years and years ago, and it's like, those aren't even a second thought to me anymore. The only unfortunate thing about going through a breakup while you're pregnant is that you still have to deal with that person to some degree. But anyways, the ways that I coped were just staying busy. Literally, I worked from 5:30 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday. Stayed busy working on the weekends for my online clients. I read my Bible a lot every single day. Every night I would sit on my porch on the swing and just enjoy the like nighttime sounds of bugs and everything. I love nature. And I would read my Bible, or I would read a book. I was doing therapy at the time, just trying to stay as productive as possible for my growth, and also pouring everything that I had into preparing for the baby. I couldn't worry about what my ex chose to do, because despite us living 2 hours apart, like if he wanted to be there, he would have been there. In those first couple months, I just really wish I would have handled things differently. and not push so much for him to be there. And like with all the back and forth and stuff, I wish I would have learned to just say okay sooner, because you cannot control the actions of another adult. You can't force somebody to see that what they're doing is wrong. You can't force somebody to see how serious having a child is and everything that goes into having a child. It's one of the mentally hardest things that I've ever gone through in my life, but I truly feel like that prepared me for motherhood in a way that nothing else could have. I don't think I was mature enough for the type of mother I am now. I don't think that I would have been this way if I had any other experience. It forced me to change. It forced me to become a woman, a mother, a real parent. I don't forget about myself, but I spent my whole pregnancy working on myself. And so now everything I do is for my child. And while I wish things could have been different, my life is still going. I have a beautiful child, a beautiful life, a great village, great friends. I'm growing in my career. But even despite those things, because I do have, months where things are hard, I still go through those difficult emotions, but life is still going on. And I am responsible for somebody's childhood. And every single day with my child is so rewarding. So please enjoy your pregnancy to the fullest. Enjoy that time for you. Pour into yourself heavily. And don't waste such a beautiful experience on trying to convince somebody that they need to be there. Because again, if they wanted to, they would.
I feel like a lot of relationships end after the woman has the baby because of the postpartum stage. Men don't always understand that drastic change. Only thing that he can do is be sympathetic, but can he really feel what we're going through? For us women, we now have a new identity when we birth a child. Who we was, we can never get back, mentally or physically. We are still yet trying to relearn ourselves in the process of tending to a whole nother life. Men don't consider what that can be doing to us mentally. And instead of being that form of comfort for us, they lack being there how they should be. If you truly love the person that you chose to give life to your legacy, why not feel entitled to stay by her side through the ups and downs as far as the aftermath of having them? It doesn't matter how bumpy the road may get. If she's your person, why allow her to feel alone mentally? Everyone is open to being there when it's good, but when it's bad, the energies change. Women hit their most vulnerable states in pregnancy and in postpartum. That's when actually being seen and heard by your significant other get values the most by her.
Advice on men that leave women when they're pregnant. First piece of advice. The wrong mentor for that child is worse than no mentor at all. Think about that. If you have the opportunity to invest in that child by yourself, you single-handedly get to mold all of the morals and virtues into that child that you want them to possess. On the flip side of that, the guys who chose not to stick around can, by the very nature of them not being the right person, bestow upon the child the wrong moral codes. We'll put it like that. Secondly, when a man is faced with the fork in the road of having a family or remaining single, there is no man that I've ever met that actually reflects upon the repercussions of his decision at that moment. He doesn't think about the 18 years that you are about to struggle by yourself trying to figure out how to raise that child. He's not going to think about all of the wasted gas meeting to and from, going and coming, all of the sacrificial weekends that he's not going to get to enjoy if he gets custody in any capacity. He's not going to think about how that child's going to feel being around other children who are in whole homes while he's part of a broken one. Having to sit down and explain at some point, at some age, why the dad wasn't around, why he left the mother out on a limb. Men don't think about those things. Men just think about, I want my freedom right now. I don't want to invest in a family. I don't want to grow. I'm too selfish. Not one time, because I'm convinced that even some of the worst of men, if they actually sat and thought about everything that child is going to experience in life, all based on the fact that he wanted to go be free, he might actually stick around. I want to believe that. But for those that don't, there is always, and I can speak this, and I know this, there is always the day when the child understands exactly what you as the mother did for them, what you sacrificed for them. May not seem like it now, but they do know what you sacrificed. And they also know what the Father chose. And on the flip side of that, there is always a day where the dad feels guilt for what he did. May take him 15 or 20 years. He may not ever speak it into existence, but I guarantee you he felt it. No, if he doesn't choose you during pregnancy, you're better off without him, and so is the kid.
I'm going to give you the advice that I wish someone had given me, but nobody had been through this. Having a newborn is wonderful and beautiful, but it's also exhausting. And repairing a relationship with a man who has broken your trust at probably the most vulnerable place you'll ever be in your life is one of the most taxing things that you will ever go through. And every single moment that you spend working to build that trust again is a moment that's taken away from yourself and your baby. And that's the hard truth. You should never be put in that position to begin with, but it is what it is. And I'm telling you, choose yourself and choose your baby. When someone cheats on you when you're pregnant, one, it says a lot about them. Two, it takes a part of you in that experience that you can never get back. And having this newborn baby is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and don't let them turn that moment into something that's anything less than beautiful.
He broke up with me when I was 6 months pregnant. It was not a good breakup. It was pretty bad. He would still come to the doctor's appointments and things like that because I always said, you know, no matter what, one, I don't believe you should ever stay with someone just because of a child. Two, like, I saw the way, like, my parents still had a good relationship even though they weren't together. So it was a goal of mine to always still be able to do the same thing for my child. So we do still have a good relationship, like a good friendship. We're cordial. We can speak to each other, but unless it's about Carter, we don't talk.
If a person walks out on you during pregnancy or infancy, never let them back into your life or the life of the child. Let them go to court, let's go fight there. Let them connect to the child when the child has become a grown-up. Why? If they left you for the dead, you should also assume they are dead.
Okay.
When they turned away at the time of critical hour, what are they showing you to be? And what influence will they have on the child? And this cannot, women do this, it's not men only. Women have dumped very young children with men and they disappear. And then she goes out there, she wants to come back. Oh, that's my child, I'll connect my child. If you left the child for the dead, me and the child will survive or live, it means we cannot count on you. And if I allow you into the life of the child again, you're coming to introduce that character of inconsistency and anxiety into their life.
And what makes it even worse is most women will never be able to forget it. Like, I've heard stories of women that, you know, have gone on to have other kids and be in other relationships and be married. And they say, you know, from time to time, they still have those thoughts and they remember those feelings. And for me, my son just turned 3. I still remember how I was treated during my pregnancy. I still remember things that were done and said during my pregnancy. And it's not that they affect me so much now. It's just, it's like those actions are tied to that moment that was, you know, supposed to be so beautiful, that moment where you're at your most vulnerable, and that moment when you were supposed to be held sacred and at least shown the utmost respect. That moment was tainted, and most women just never forget it.
I'm not sure if you're asking me how did I cope with leaving the relationship early in my pregnancy, or how did I cope with pregnancy by myself. I'm not sure how, like, what you're asking, but either way, the answer is simply going to be the same. Life goes on, and I'm not saying that to be insensitive because, again, I've gone through it. So regardless of what happens in a relationship, you're still carrying a baby. Life still goes on. For me personally, when I'm over a situation, I'm over it. And once disrespect has been involved and once a bunch of unnecessary things have happened, I'm over the situation. That's just me. 2, I never felt like just because I was having a baby with somebody that I had to stick it out and stick it through and make it work. I never felt like that. I always felt like we can co-parent efficiently. If we can't, I got it. But also, too, I dove into pregnancy. I'm thankful that pretty much everyone around me already had kids, and my close friends kind of knew what was going on in my situation. So everyone was very supportive, and I'm so thankful of that. But I dove into my pregnancy. I found the beautifulness in pregnancy. I found the love in my pregnancy, and I just dove into that because at the end of the day, you're still pregnant. At the end of the day, you're still carrying a child, and you still have to see that child through to the other side. So for me, I just looked at the bright side of pregnancy. And if you don't do that, guys, pregnancy can be miserable. The things you're going through can make pregnancy miserable. The things that your significant other or the person that you're pregnant by, the things that they're doing and the things that they say, it can make this experience miserable. But I've seen other people be in miserable situations and feel a certain type of way towards their child, and their child go through certain things due to them being emotional. And personally, I feel like I couldn't even grieve what I was really going through, because here I am now, a mother, and I'm carrying a child, and it's not about me anymore. So that's just some things that helped me. If he hasn't been there the whole pregnancy, I don't see the issue with wanting him to keep the same energy. Me personally, if he wanted to come around, I would let him, but also have that talk with him. Hey, if you're going to be present, if you want to be present, great. If you want to be consistent, great. If you don't, great. And then just let him go about it that way. Don't let him do the in and out thing. But if I'm being honest with you, a lot of times, if he hasn't been present the whole pregnancy, he might do you a big one and just stay gone. Oftentimes the pregnancy dictates the way the relationship is gonna go, and I don't know what it is about men, but they may come around, but when they come around, it's like they give you no option other than doing it alone, but then get mad when you're doing it alone. It's weird.
Look, now I gotta address this one. Men, why are we gonna do this to our women when they're pregnant? Like, I did it twice. 2 times I fucked this up. Like, why are we gonna damage our women when they're holding our children? When they're birthing and growing beautiful children inside their bodies, we're gonna look at other women. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Now, I get it. You're stressed out. This is one of the biggest moments in your life. You got a kid coming. Instead of going to escapism, why don't you man up, grow some fucking balls, and do what you need to do. Focus on your kids, focus on your wife, and go out and build that crib. Do whatever you need to do to prepare for that baby that's coming. You need to focus on your family and what's right at hand.
Am I the asshole for arguing with my husband because he left me at home while I was miscarrying? Let me pause and move out the way so that you guys can read. She's not the asshole for arguing with him, but she will be an asshole if she stays there in that marriage. Issues like this are grounds for immediate divorce. There's no marriage counseling that can teach a person basic kindness, compassion, and empathy, just decency. This is a person who wasn't raised right. They cannot delay instant gratification. They don't have a job where they're saving lives. They're not the president, and they're not having their own medical crisis. So there's no excuse for them not to be there for you in a situation like this. They had dinner plans. That's something that they could literally do next week. And they're just like, okay, well, you're having this medical emergency and you're dealing with something that's emotionally devastating as well, and they don't see the need to be there for you. How can you work through that? That's not something that you can work through. And they're showing you what their future is going to be like with them, because if you become chronically ill or terminally ill, they're going to be irritated with you. These are the people that will leave you and have a new boyfriend, girlfriend before they even close the casket. This is the person that's going to remarry within 3 to 6 months after you're dead, because they don't have any empathy for you, and the love is just not that deep, and they're always going to put themselves first. So once you're gone and the bed gets cold at night, they're going to find someone to quickly replace you because you're just not that valuable to them. So when you look at it from that perspective, you have to ask yourself, how could I stay married? How could I? Not, think about it. No way. Don't do it. You're in for a lifetime of pain if you continue in a relationship like this. This is a person who has truly shown you that the marriage vows in sickness and in health, they don't mean anything. They'd rather go to dinner with a friend.
The number one thing that helped me heal from going through a breakup while I was pregnant was diving into my emotional intelligence. Getting serious about learning emotional intelligence is what carved the path for my personal growth and keeps me happy to this day. Here's a 3-step process I take myself through every time I start to feel any emotion other than happy. And even when I was reflecting on things from my previous relationship while I was pregnant, I did this 3-step process just to think about different situations so I could heal and move on from them. Number 1, identify what you feel. But it's not enough to just say, I'm sad, I'm frustrated. Dig deeper, develop your emotional vocabulary, and really do some research. What do you actually feel? Are you scared? Because a big thing for me, I was angry. I was angry because this is not what I wanted. I did not want to be a single mom. I really wanted things to work out. I felt played. Like, you know, you have to just dive a little bit deeper. Don't pick a big umbrella term of like sad or mad. Do some research, find some other synonyms, find some other words, some deeper words that you can use to describe what you actually feel, and be honest with how you actually feel. Because even if somebody did you dirty, it's okay to miss them. It's okay to grieve them. It's okay to be sad about it. That's all part of the process. Number 2, rate the intensity. So when you're thinking about specific situations from your relationship or, you know, situations moving forward, think about the situation on a scale of 1 to 10. How serious is it to you? Like, how serious is the situation on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most serious? And then how serious was your response on a scale of 1 to 10? And compare those two things. I'll give a personal example just from something I'm experiencing recently. My child's father, on his last visit, I was gone for the day and I came back and he hadn't done the diaper genie, like cleared the diaper genie. He didn't wash any of the bottles. He didn't do anything to help with any like parental tasks. And I was pissed. Like, I was really, really pissed. And I was like, you can just go because you don't even help. You just come and sit here. Like, okay. So the situation, I'm not gonna get too deep into it. Situation itself, maybe a 4. I could have just asked him to, yeah. But my reaction, I rate my reaction an 8. So when you take a step back and look at things objectively like that, like, was the situation actually that serious to warrant the response I gave it? Not to discredit, because yes, he should be doing those things and I should not have to parent somebody, but this is part of the reflection process, which is stage 3. You take a step back and look at things for what they are, and then look at your reaction and what you can do to control your reactions to make sure that you don't get yourself worked up emotionally. And you can repeat this 3-step process with literally anything in your life. It's very helpful to dive into the nuances of your emotions, to figure out what you're truly feeling, what the underlying feeling is, instead of giving it that big umbrella term. Actually taking a step back and looking at it and saying, was it that serious? If it is, if the situation was serious and your response was serious, I want you to look at what you can do to maybe lessen your response and learn to accept things for what they are. Especially when it involves another person, you can't control how somebody else responds to you. No matter, even if you do start controlling your reactions and you learn to heal and you learn to move on, the other person may not. They may not be in the same space as you at that time, and you have to accept them where they're at. Because people are going to make the decisions that they feel is best for them. A lot of the times, people aren't looking at you, okay? You can't expect that person to look at you and treat you the way that you would like to be treated. But the biggest part of growth and the biggest breakthrough that I had during my pregnancy was accepting that fact. I couldn't make my ex into who I wanted him to be. I couldn't make him step up during my pregnancy how I wanted him to. I had to accept him for exactly where he was at, because at the end of the day, yes, you did choose to be in that situation, but you know, you get a blessing out of it, and I promise the growth is coming for you. It took me about a year, but you really get to a point where you're just like, okay. I'm currently creating an online workbook course for moms who had to go through their pregnancy alone, or for newly single moms, to help you with your personal development and your personal growth. I'm really excited to get this out to you guys because it has just been everything for me, and it's made my life so much more peaceful, and I really, really hope to be able to help other women in the same position. So if you're not already, follow my page so you can stay up to date on when that's releasing.
That's some real handy work if the man that you are pregnant by is telling you that the only way you can get to him is through his mama or his new girlfriend or some other female relative. He and his feelings. I mean, any man who's worth something can be able to deal with the drama that some women try to bring inside of a co-parenting experience. So if he's telling another woman to deal with you and you two have a baby on the way, oh, he still has feelings for you.
and he's upset that you won't give him access to you in the way that he wants you to. So he's trying to find someone else to control the situation, someone that he controls. And of course, men make minions out of women. Men have enablers. They have that more than they have anything. Because women, no matter how smart they think they are, men have still managed to outsmart us when it comes to them. So yeah, try to make your situation as drama-free as possible. But he's still gonna try that shit, trust me. That's the handiwork of a Dusty. Because a real man gonna handle his responsibility and deal with you face to face, because the only two people that came together and conceived a child, your child, was you and him.
My ex-boyfriend of nearly 3 years broke up with me when I was 4 months pregnant. And let me just start by saying that going through a breakup is tough, but navigating a breakup when you're pregnant is a whole nother level. You know, we had been together for nearly 3 years. We were living together. We'd been looking at houses to buy the year before. And the main reason for our breakup was the pregnancy. And it was something that I really struggled to come to terms with. There were bouts of anger, sadness, heartbreak, but above all, the hardest part of going through a breakup when you're pregnant is the guilt. The guilt that you feel for your child.
Let's talk about pregnancy abuse. How a man will use pregnancy against a woman. He will weaponize pregnancy to set her back and keep her stuck on stupid. A narcissist is a womanizer. And, you know, whether he's living with his fiance or he's actually married, there's a pattern where he continues to get his wife pregnant. All his children are close in age and he has multiple babies, but it's not for the reason that you think it is. To the outside world, it'll seem like he's a loving father and he wants a big family and he's loving on his wife and he just got to knock her up and keep her off her feet. Oh, but it's the contrary. We're talking about a narcissist here. The reason that he keeps knocking up his wife and they have baby after baby is to slow her up from getting in his business while he runs the street. If she's pregnant and off her feet or she's busy with the children, she can't keep tabs on him while he's running the streets with his side chicks.
So someone asked me, how do narcissists treat you when you are pregnant by them? And of course, if you're near, I'm actually a diagnosed narcissist. So sometimes narcissistic people will spaz out when you become pregnant by them or when you get them pregnant. Sometimes when you become pregnant by them, they will absolutely start the discard phase. They will discard you and try to treat you horribly and sometimes they will ghost you through the entirety of the pregnancy. And strangely enough, right when you're about to give birth, right when the time of birth arrives, that person might try to hoover you and come back into the picture. Yep. In your moments of vulnerability, that narcissistic person might swoop back in the 9th month and try to be a super parent. Hey, I'm sorry, I haven't been there. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what I needed to do, but I know what I want now. I want my family back. I want us to be a family and be together. And does that work when they pop up right before you go to the hospital and things like that? Yeah, it does work sometimes because you're vulnerable. Just stay safe and follow my YouTube channel.
Ladies, let's discuss having a baby with a narcissist, the pregnancy stages and what you should and shouldn't do and what you should avoid. Now, I didn't have a baby with a psychopath. I successfully raised my daughter by myself. She is now 21 years old. So I've been through the family court system. I've put my baby father in jail. So this advice I'm giving you is some sound advice. Whether you take it or not is totally up to you. You know at the time that you're pregnant whether or not your baby father is abusive. The signs were there before he got you pregnant. Having a baby is not going to change his abusive ways. I'm telling you, some of y'all think, oh, a baby will make him softer or more kind. No, it will not. Once a man is abusive and he's showing you he's abusive, he's going to get worse. Narcissistic men love to harm you when you're vulnerable. So now that you're pregnant and he knows you're going to keep the baby, he knows there's a new life growing inside of you. And that you have to rest and you have to, maintain your strength and you have to eat well for the baby. That baby is relying on you for everything. And this is where the narcissist will turn up his abusive behavior. He will either abandon you And he'll have his toxic mother and sister watching you on Facebook or trying to keep tabs while he's in his new relationship. So they're reporting back to him how you're doing during your 9 months up until you have the baby. Because he is waiting for you to have that baby. Because once you have the baby, he has secured you. You're his meal ticket. If you decide to maintain communication with your baby father during the pregnancy, he's going to treat you like shit. He's going to verbally and emotionally abuse you. And some men even beat and put their hands on their pregnant girlfriends and wives. It's very real. They don't care about that child that is growing inside of you. That should be a huge red flag that he's going to be a horrible father. Yet and still, y'all still put the man's name on the birth certificate. You still try to force the baby on him. He is showing you the signs during your pregnancy that he is going to put you and your child through pure hell for the next 18 years. Please be smart and recognize the red flags while you're pregnant. He should not be allowed to come near you while you're giving birth. Don't even tell him when you go into labor. Don't let him sign that birth certificate. Because when you become entangled with him in family court, he's going to drag you to hell and back, honey. And he's going to fight for custody. He's going to bring his mama and sisters to testify against you. Matter of fact, before you give birth to the baby, you should be planning to move far away. Move far away so they can't reach you. Give your child a chance to grow up healthy away from your abusive baby daddy. The signs are there during your pregnancy.
Things I am learning as I go through a horrific breakup at 22 weeks pregnant. Let me just start this off by saying I'm a wreck. Even if I don't look like a wreck, I'm a teetotal wreck. I'm a mess. And this is the hardest thing I've ever been through. I mean, I got boxes in my car because I'm getting ready to move back home. And I'm only on day 3 of this breakup. And I've already learned some things about myself and about him and about the situation. And I hope to carry them over into whatever relationship I end up in the future. The first thing that I think is super important, maybe one of the most important things, is self-care. I stopped caring about myself. I stopped doing things for myself. And not everyone's self-care looks the same, but I stopped doing my hair. I stopped doing my makeup. I stopped wearing cute clothes. I mean, I stopped shaving. I just like completely and totally stopped giving a shit about myself and how I looked. And it was because I didn't think that it mattered to him. And that was wrong of me. I mean, he didn't care. But I should have cared enough to keep doing those things for myself. And I didn't. The next thing, the little things matter. And I think a handful of little things weighs more than one sweeping grand romantic gesture. Those little things, they add up, and they constantly reassure your partner and reinforce your partner that you love them, you think about them, you care about them, you respect them and appreciate them. And when you stop doing those little things, it sends your partner a message, and maybe not overnight, but over a period of time, if you consistently stop doing them, that your partner isn't important to you. And so keep doing those little things. They're very, very important. The final thing, which is the hardest, and I think the most important, you cannot control your partner. You can't control what they do, what they think, what they say. I mean, and the sooner you realize that, the happier you will be. The more you focus on what they do or do not do, the more miserable you're going to be, the more you're going to fight. And that's so freaking hard. Okay, it's so hard, and I'm still struggling with it. But I mean, it's something you really got to get a grip on, and quickly, because it turns the relationship into complete and utter chaos and turmoil. You can only control you, your behavior, and how you react to their behavior. So those are the things I've learned in the past 3 days, or the things that I've started to realize, at least. And if anyone else is going through this right now, I feel for you. It is so hard. I feel like I'm gonna die all the time. It feels like someone just scooped out my insides, and I feel hollow. And I know one day I won't feel like that, but today is not that day. Things I am learning as I go through a horrific breakup at 22 weeks pregnant. Let me just start this off by saying I'm a wreck. Even if I don't look like a wreck, I'm a teetotal wreck. I'm a mess. And this is the hardest thing I've ever been through. I mean, I got boxes in my car because I'm getting ready to move back home. And I'm only on day 3 of this breakup. And I've already learned some things about myself and about him and about the situation. And I hope to carry them over into whatever relationship I end up in the future. The first thing that I think is super important, maybe one of the most important things, is self-care. I stopped caring about myself. I stopped doing things for myself. And not everyone's self-care looks the same, but I stopped doing my hair. I stopped doing my makeup. I stopped wearing cute clothes. I mean, I stopped shaving. I just like completely and totally stopped giving a shit about myself and how I looked. And it was because I didn't think that it mattered to him. And that was wrong of me. I mean, he didn't care. But I should have cared enough to keep doing those things for myself. And I didn't. The next thing, the little things matter. And I think a handful of little things weighs more than one sweeping grand romantic gesture. Those little things, they add up, and they constantly reassure your partner and reinforce your partner that you love them, you think about them, you care about them, you respect them and appreciate them. And when you stop doing those little things, it sends your partner a message, and maybe not overnight, but over a period of time, if you consistently stop doing them, that your partner isn't important to you. And so keep doing those little things. They're very, very important. The final thing, which is the hardest, and I think the most important, you cannot control your partner. You can't control what they do, what they think, what they say. I mean, and the sooner you realize that, the happier you will be. The more you focus on what they do or do not do, the more miserable you're going to be, the more you're going to fight. And that's so freaking hard. Okay, it's so hard, and I'm still struggling with it. But I mean, it's something you really got to get a grip on, and quickly, because it turns the relationship into complete and utter chaos and turmoil. You can only control your behavior, and how you react to their behavior. So those are the things I've learned in the past 3 days, or the things that I've started to realize, at least. And if anyone else is going through this right now, I feel for you. It is so hard. I feel like I'm gonna die all the time. It feels like someone just scooped out my insides, and I feel hollow. And I know one day I won't feel like that, but today is not that day.
Let's read it. I kind of just been needing to get this off my chest for a while, and I need to say thank you for listening. I'm currently 17 weeks pregnant, and I've never felt more alone than I already have. I've done everything I can for my partner, and everything I also can do to be the best partner. The whole entire relationship and marriage has just been horrible, and now that I'm pregnant, it feels like everything is getting worse. I thought that maybe the news of him finding out that he'd be a dad would make him happy, since he's always wanted to be one. But instead, it feels like I don't even exist. He treats me like I don't exist. I am trying to keep this as brief as I can, but I don't know if I should just leave and ask for a divorce or not, because at the same time, I'm afraid of being a single mother.
So let me ask you this, because a lot of men may not even understand how impactful it is to be there even throughout the pregnancy.
Yeah.
So that's why now I try to, because we're a blended family, y'all. So she's had her experiences with her babies. I had my experiences with my babies. But I know before I wasn't there, like they're just exaggerating.
Yeah.
Or I know it ain't that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they really don't know.
Bro, it's that bad.
So ladies, all these stories made me remember of a time whereby we watched this Christian couple, talking about how when they met, the husband was a pastor, and they were popular content creators. Nowadays, I don't see them anymore, or I don't know whether it's because I don't follow them. But this woman had gotten 6 sons for this man. And then this man decided that, oh, now once we've gotten 6 babies, and it was in a span of like 4 years, because they had like 2 sets of twins or something. So and then the last 2 were like not twins. So all these happened in a span of 4 years. And then once the woman was done giving birth to the last child, like the last child was not even like, I don't think even the last child was like 6 months old. This man decided that he's now out of the relationship and he's gay. Can you imagine? This man came out as gay and he was a pastor. Like, what? Oh, he didn't come out as gay, but most people say that he was gay, like he was giving those DL vibes or something. And people are never wrong. Trust me, people can see through a lot of shit that you think they can't see through. People see through a lot of shit. So I was thinking, like, that is a form of womb abuse, because, like, how the hell do you make me have 6 children? And to make matters worse, they're all boys. 6 boys in my house, 6 sons. And then you want to leave me with 6 sons? People who are telling her, take those sons to their father. Let the father raise their sons. Like, don't accept to do that. Or let him take 3, you take 3. Because, like, no, like, don't accept to be labored. And then these are the same type of men who will complain about child support, who won't help you with the kids. Can you imagine? And they are 6. And this woman is very young. I think she's in her late 20s or early 30s. Can you imagine? Or even early 20s. Like, I don't know, but I don't think early 20s. Late 20s or early 30s. Can you imagine? 6 babies. If one feels like this, 6, I think I would go cuckoo. Like, I would just lose my mind. Because I think even having 6 babies in the first place, even if I'm in a good marriage, like, it will drive me crazy. 6. No, don't get me the wrong way. I'm not trying to judge anyone who has, like, multiple children. By the way, I really admire those people who can handle multiple kids. Like, I'm even obsessed. I even wonder, like, wow, like, how can you do it? Because I could never. And I know it. And it's good to know that you could never. Like, I think my threshold will be ended by 3 kids. Like, I think 3 would really, like I will be done. And then plus, for me, by the giving birth was not easy. Like, I can't imagine doing that 6 times. 6 times. Anyway, this video is not about that couple. Anyway, I'm sorry for going on about that topic, but I don't know whether you get my point. Some of these men will abuse your womb. Be very careful. Guard your womb. Some of these men get you pregnant and leave you. Let me tell you, when you're sleeping with a man, always know that you can get pregnant by this man. Always take very good precaution. And some of these situations, I wouldn't encourage anyone to keep a baby if the situation will, like, drain you mentally, financially, and then you'll be stuck with this man for all your life. Like, I'd advise a woman to get rid of it. Trust me. I know it sounds very bad. I know to some people I sound like a murderer. But trust me, you'd rather get rid of the problem right now than, I don't know, for the next, 50 years or whatever of your life. You'll be dealing with that man because you had a child with him. Like, you'll have grandchildren together, great-grandchildren together. This son of yours or this daughter of yours will get married. You'll have to attend the wedding plan. If they get terminally ill, you'll have to be there for him or her together. If anything happens to him or her, maybe I'm tired. I can't imagine doing that. Let me repeat, with 6 children. Like, no, be very careful, ladies who you have kids with. I can't imagine doing a pregnancy alone. Like, me personally, this is something that I appreciate my ex for. Despite him being, like, very trifling, if you've heard my stories before, he didn't, like, abandon me when I was pregnant, and that's something I thank him for. Plus, he loves this child. Like, most of these men can't even stand their children, can't even stand them. Like, they can't even help you physically with a child. Already financially, they don't help. Now, physically, most of them can't stand their own kids. And they'll burden you with the kids, like, you'll be stuck with the kids. You can't make money. Personally, I've been in that situation. I know. But for some men, it's hard. Like, they don't even accept the child is theirs. Can you imagine having a baby daddy who doesn't even accept the child is theirs in the first place? He denies. And you've seen these men talking on these podcasts, on these online platforms. Like, the other day I saw a video whereby this man was saying that he's not responsible for any of his kids because he didn't want the child. And according to him, it's the woman who should take care more than the man because the woman is the one who is carrying. Okay, he's right to a specific degree, but if you also don't want children, why are you still nutting into women? Why don't you get a vasectomy? Like, what do you mean? So that tells me most of these men know what they are doing. And most of these men will play like they didn't want the child. They didn't even want to become a father. I mean, you were the one who was insisting with this thing. So they had no other option but to be a father. Like, that's the story. That's the story they'll sell to everyone out here. Be very careful. And I'd advise anyone. I know I've not been in that situation. And my heart goes out to anyone who has ever experienced that situation. But if you look on it, for some people, it's safer to go through a pregnancy alone than with an abusive partner. So look at it as a blessing in disguise too. Like, maybe that person would have stressed you even more when he's right there with you. Some of these men will stress you some of these men make life harder for you when you're with them. But when you depart from them, life becomes easy. It's crazy. But the other day I did a video whereby women were saying that their lives have gotten easier once they became single mothers. So it's crazy. And my advice is, when a man shows you who he is, believe him. Why are you still getting pregnant for a man who has shown you who he is? Why are you still deciding to keep the child for a man who has shown you who he is? He doesn't deserve his lineage continued. He doesn't deserve that from you. Don't put your body through all that stress for a man who doesn't even appreciate you. For a man who can't even commit to you. Like me personally, like I don't have the strength. Like I'd rather just take naps. I'd rather just do that with my life, because like I'm not about to raise a whole other kid for no man. I'm not about to keep no baby for no man anymore. Like we are not doing that. We're not doing that, especially with these trifling men. We are not doing that with this. We're only doing that with these responsible men. We're only doing that with our husbands. We're not doing that with these crazy men. No, me, I'm not doing that again. Hey, apana. Ladies, imagine, let's love ourselves. Some of us don't love yourself, kabisa. Yani, you let a man, you have these kids with a man, and then you rush. Don't rush your children by the way. That's another thing. Don't rush them. Take your time and observe how this man treats you after the first child. If he treats you nasty, if his true colors come out, please run. Run. Can you imagine? Some of these men get you pregnant year after year after year to keep you stuck. They know it will be hard for you to even work, and they plan not to support you physically with the kids, or even financially, or even emotionally. Hey, don't play with this. These men don't like us, and I keep saying they don't like women. They don't like women. They'll do everything to destroy. And I'm not saying all men, but most of them nowadays are very trifling. Like, we have very few men that you can say that this man has a good heart. Like, even you in your life, how many men can you solidly say, like, that man is a good man with no buts? How many? Me personally, I think it's only one. Only one. Only one. The others, yes, I've met good men, but I didn't get the chance to like really know them. But for the one that I know, that one is a good one. And my thing is that a man who leaves a woman pregnant, that's the type of man who will give your kids anxiety. Like, he'll be inconsistent. He'll be telling them, I'm coming to pick you up, I'm buying this and this for you, and won't follow up with it. So is this a man you really want in your child's life anyway? Is this a man who you even want there? I'm sure most of us ladies will appreciate the help during our pregnancy, yes. But some of these men are better gone than stayed. Like, most of them are better not in the situation than in the situation. They might cause more problems for you while in the situation than not in the situation. Most of these men are the men who will go to the delivery room and sleep, or give you anxiety, or tell you how ugly you look. Like, some of these men are better not there than there. And I keep repeating. So think about that. If you're in this situation, think about it this way. And think of your child as a blessing. If you decided to keep your child, that's a blessing. Think of it as a blessing. Don't walk around with all this negative energy. Like, that energy will get into your child. No wonder some children are born very angry. Like, they're just angry. You know, that energy got into them. Or they're always rejected. They never have luck in anything. In school, they are hated. Like, that energy causes a lot of problems for kids. So be very careful. Don't think that the child doesn't feel. The child receives your energy, trust me. And something else I was grateful to learn from this video is that most couples break up during pregnancy or after the baby, because that is the most vulnerable time for a woman. And what does that tell you? If a man can break up with you when you're pregnant, or when you have a newborn, or start treating you bad when you have a newborn, like, what does that tell you about this man? This man never liked you. From the word go, this man never liked you. That's why he's doing that at your most vulnerable state, because he knows you can't up and leave. He knows you can't retaliate. That's why he's treating you like that. So be very careful. Most of these men will weaponize pregnancy even against you. Hey, they'll use it again. They'll use it to abuse you. They'll use it to destroy you. Because where he is, he knows that you're carrying his child. He knows that you can't reverse the decision. He knows that you'll be raising that child alone. And let me tell you, most of these men get a kick out of it. They get a kick out of ruining a woman's life. They get a kick out of making women single mothers. Having the pride to say that, oh, I have 5 baby mamas. They think that's a flex, but that's not a flex at all. If anything, you sound irresponsible. You sound sexually irresponsible. You know? So that's the thing about this thing. I can't give a lot of information about this topic, because I've not really like experienced it, but my heart goes out to all those who have experiences or those who are currently experiencing it. So ladies, I really loved this video. I really loved this video. I don't want to repeat everything that was said in this video. I know we've already watched the video, but I'm curious to find out what stood out for you from this video. What are your experiences? What experiences have you seen from your friends, family, relatives? Like, what can you share about this topic? We need more comments with such experiences. Like, I enjoy reading your comments, ladies. I enjoy engaging with you in the comment section. Like, you have no idea. So ladies, please comment down below on what you thought about this video, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.